Hi guys, welcome back. Today we'll be taking a look at Sea Limited and a few Hong Kong stocks. Before I begin, remember take a second to give the video a like and subscribe to stay updated with the market. Do note that I do not provide any buy or sell calls, but focus on potential traps set up by the market makers. Without further ado, let's first start off with Sea. So Sea Limited will be announcing its results later today, just before market open, and it's highly anticipated. Many will be watching this. So let's take a look at its price action for the past 3 days. So you can see that it was well supported above this $50. In fact, it hit a low of 54.06, and this is the 52-week low. Nevertheless, you can see that the trend is still down. So there is a possibility for us to still trend down. In the event that there's good results, there is a potential catalyst for us to go back up. But unfortunately, since the trend is down, it's likely for us to be creating lower highs and also lower highs here. At the same time, we are also creating lower lows. So the trend will likely to remain unless the results is fantastic and is a catalyst moving forward. So looking at the price action, the key supports we'll be watching will be the $60 psychological support. Thereafter will be 62, 65, and 68. So these four support rather is very critical for Sea Limited. And the first one is 68. If 68 were to break down, then that is not a good sign. You can see that just yesterday, we had a sell-off about 6.72%, closing just above the $70 psychological support level. And this blue conversion line is currently not really acting well as a strong support. The blue conversion line is currently at 72.22. So if we have to continue staying above this to remain bullish. In the event of good results, then I'm probably looking at first resistance at 82.61 and thereafter 90.38. Looking at this potential rate baseline, this is a potential resistance for Sea Limited, which is currently standing at 86.28. So if we do have a gap up tonight and we arrive at $90 and the price was to drop, pull back down, we do not want it to go below this 86.28. Unless if we were to go below this 86.28, then it's probably sell news after the gap up. So key supports to watch for Sea Limited will be the $60 psychological support in the event of bad news. If 60 were to break down, then it's likely for us to retest back this 54.06. But if there's good news, then we're likely to be heading towards this $90 with 82.61 as a first potential resistance, and also this 86.28 as the rate baseline as a potential resistance as well for Sea Limited. Don't forget that the trend is still down. So even with good results, we're likely to continue and stay bearish following the trend. So moving on, let's go to Meituan. So Meituan, like I said, is pretty bullish. It's still currently holding the index quite well. 23.6% is still holding. It hit a low here around 20th of April. They're about from a low of 103.5 to a high of around 178. So clearly you can see that this 178 is a tough resistance for Meituan. If we do break out this 178, then we can expect more upside ahead. So let's take a look at some of the potential resistance are coming for Meituan. So as you can see, we have already surpassed this 61.8% at 165 as of today, as of now. So the next resistance we'll be looking at will be 170.7, which is currently being blocked. And we're not able to go back up above this 170. So if we have external power, and perhaps tomorrow or later on in the day, then we're likely to test back this 178, which is a very difficult resistance for Meituan. And if we do go back above this 178, then we're likely to be heading towards the next Fibonacci at 78.6% at 198.2 to test the $200 psychological resistance, and thereafter head back to this 224 to test the highs that were created sometime in February 2022, a few months ago. So key supports to watch will be the blue conversion line here as 158.7, and this rate baseline as 154.1. Support to watch and support to not break will be this low of 144.0 and also this 131.1. If we do break down, then it's likely for us to test back this low of 103 near the $100 psychological support level. So let's move on to PDD or Pinduoduo, the one listed in New York. So Pinduoduo slightly weak. 23.6% is being tested, even though it's have not broken. We hit a low of 31.01, just above this $31 psychological support. Currently, you can see that it is struggling to actually close above this conversion line and also this rate baseline. Currently, the rate and the conversion line is at 38.20 and 38.36 respectively. So somewhere between 38.30 those levels. So looking closely at the Fibonacci resistance, you can see that 38.36 is a tough resistance to break, and if we were to break above it, even this $40 psychological support here, psychological resistance here is acting as a strong resistance. You can see that Pinduoduo has already hit 14.15 and we did not clear this 61.8%. If we do clear it, then we're likely to be heading towards this 42.5 before we clearing back this 45.70, which was the high here somewhere in early May. And if we do go back up, then I'm looking at a high of $50 psychological resistance, and thereafter we test the high of 55.38. So there's a possibility for Pinduoduo to go back up. If we do break down, then we're likely to go back perhaps to the low of $34, and thereafter we test the low of 31.01, which is shouldn't be the case unless the whole market is weak or the upcoming results is not too good. Furthermore, there's also this cloud resistance to watch at around $42 to $44. So do bear in mind that on the way up, the cloud will act as a resistance, just like this one here. There are some struggles between the clouds. So we do expect some struggles between the clouds at this particular time. So moving on to AIA Group. AIA Group, this is it had a double bottom, so it's pretty weak compared to the other stocks. So you can see that there's a clear double bottom here, and thereafter we rebounded back up. So that's a good sign that the double bottom is working and we're not creating lower lows for now. So let's take a look at some of the Fibonacci resistance to watch out for. So currently you can see that 61.8% of 7650 is being passed, so likely to be heading towards this 77.8 before reclaiming back this 7950, which was this high here. Let's take a look at the conversion line. You can see that clearly this conversion line is acting as a very strong support. So that's a good sign. What we want to see is after this blue conversion line has been surpassed, or even this red baseline has been surpassed, we wanted to see it previous resistance turning to support. So this conversion line is currently at $75 and it's holding well for the day. This red baseline is currently at $78. So that will act as a very strong resistance for AIA. And if you were to go back up above $80, then we're likely to hit back to this 81.65. Thereafter, we test the highs of 84.40. So it's currently looking promising, but we have to surpass this red baseline at $78 first. Supports to watch out for will be the recent low of 71.60. So this support cannot break down, and what we want to see is also this there's also a gap that was being created here. So this previous resistance at around $74 have to turn to support on the way down. So if you were to come down and cover this gap, we want to see that this $74 turn into previous resistance, turn into support, and thereafter we go back up. There's a sign of a good trend reversal of a double bottom. Let's move on to PingAn 2318. So PingAn, similar situation, but as you can see, compared to AIA, is slightly weaker. AIA is already above this blue conversion line, while PingAn is still struggling above it. So resistance to watch for PingAn will be for 750, 4050, 49.35, and also this $50 psychological support. If we can go above this $50 psychological support, then we're likely to see back $51 and 52.85, which is this high here. Looking at the blue conversion line, it's currently at $48.97 or $49, and also this red baseline is currently at $52.75. So these two will act as a very strong resistance for PingAn. If we were to surpass those two, then likely to look at this 61.8% and 54.35 will be a very difficult resistance for PingAn to hold. And also this 56.70, and thereafter we test the high of 59.65. Support that needs to be supported will be this low here. So this $45 and $46 cannot break down. If we were to break down, then it's likely for us to be starting to create lower lows, which is not a good sign. And that means that this stock is particularly very bearish. So let's move on to NetEase. This ticker will be 9999. So NetEase is surprisingly strong. Not exactly sure what they do, but you can clearly see this 50% at 132 is being supported once, twice. So that is a good sign for this particular counter after it went from 108 to a high of 157.2. So currently now resistance to watch would be, let's take a zoom in. You can see that we already passed this blue conversion line, also this red baseline. So the next resistance to be watching after we did not clear this morning at 151.6, 78.6%. We hit this high of 151.8, which is just above this resistance. And now we're struggling to actually close or at least hold above this 161% at 147.7. So we have to hold above this. And if we go back up, then we're likely to test back this 156.6. If we were to go back above 156.6, then we're likely to see this 158, which is this 61.8% resistance, and thereafter test back this 171 and even go as high as 188.9. Support to watch will be 138, and this red baseline and this blue conversion line will also act as a support, which is currently at around 143. So 143, 138, and 133 will be crucial supports to watch for NetEase. Last support to watch will be at 127 here. This is a critical support for NetEase. Moving on, let's take a look at the one listed at New York. So this is the ticker NTES. So a very similar situation. You can see that it's being supported by its 50% Fibonacci at 84.90. You can see it tested once, twice, thrice. Then we see a rebound. So you can see that this is currently blocked by its red baseline. So the red baseline it's currently at 92.69. The blue conversion line is currently at 90.76. So these two will act as a very strong resistance for NetEase. In the event that we go back up, then we're likely to see 96.08 at 70.6%, and also this tested high of 99.32. If we were to surpass this $100 psychological support, then likely for us to see the highs of 107, 108, which was these highs here. So there is a possibility for us to retest the highs if we were to surpass this $100 psychological support. Unfortunately, there's also a gap here, so it may be close one day. So this gap is currently at around, the low was around $78 and the high was around 75. So it's a $3 to $4 gap that needs to be closed someday. So let's hope that this cloud will act as a strong support on the way down. So the cloud should act as a strong support on the way down, similar to a situation like this one. So yeah, let's move on to Xiaomi Corporation. So Xiaomi Corporation 1810, surprisingly weak. The trend is still down. You can see that the trend is still down, and it's not being able to test the clouds as a resistance. In fact, we are still quite far away from the clouds. So that is not a good sign. Unless we have surprise earnings or good earnings, then there is a potential catalyst for us to go up. But similar to C Limited, I'm afraid that all the rebounds are only relief rallies, and it's probably a dead cat bounce. So in the event that you want to cut your losses, then you try to cut your losses on the way up when there's a strong rally. So let's take a look at some of its support and resistance. Resistance to watch would be this 1107. So we already have surpassed it. So what we want to see is this resistance has turned into support in the upcoming trading sessions. There's a key baseline here, and baseline is 1213. So this is a very strong psychological support just above this $12 psychological support. So it's a very strong resistance. Currently, the volume is not too fantastic. You can see that the green volume is not enough. Resistance to watch would be this 1182 and also this 1222. If we can surpass these two resistance, then I'm looking at 1288, 1350, and also this 1436. 1350 will be a very critical one to watch. If we can surpass this 1350, then there is a good sign, because do expect some previous support here is likely to turn into resistance. And clearly you can see that there's a tick cloud here. $13 to $15 will be a very strong resistance for Xiaomi Corporation. So do expect some resistance here. Unfortunately, if the results isn't that fantastic, we may potentially start cracking down, even breaking this $10 psychological support here. So do bear in mind of the risk involved in this particular counter. So let's move on to China Mobile Limited. So China Mobile Limited, it's currently still trending up. You can see that this is the low here. So this is a higher low. This is higher low. Yes, this is a high here, but this is a lower high. So we need to start breaking back up to see some more momentum. Support to be watching will be $50 psychological support, and so this low of $48, just below this $50, where some retail investors may be putting their stop losses. Let's take a look at its supports and resistance. You can see that this is being well supported by its blue conversion line, 51.17. So the next resistance to watch out will be this 33.05, which is a strong resistance for China Mobile. Looking at the resistance ahead that he has to cross this 51.70. You can see that it's being rejected off 51.70 before going back to 52.15 and also 52.75. If we can cross this three resistance upcoming, then we're likely to be heading towards $50, 50% psychological, 50% at 53.55 and test the highs of 54.40. If you can cross this, then we're likely to go back above 55.60 and test this high of 57.10. So currently it still looks promising, but we have to see more volume coming in and start to go up. To bear in mind, the cloud is here, and also this red baseline is here. So do expect some resistance at around 53 to around $54 for this particular counter. So that's all for now. And if there's any changes, I'll give you guys an update. Thanks for stopping by. And don't forget to subscribe as you keep the uptrend channel intact. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.